On today's episode, we're going to be changing out the front brakes because we have none. I can squeeze this all day long. I have zero pressure there. You can see it's still spinning. So no front brakes. The only thing that's going to stop me is probably a tree or the person in front of me, I guess. So we're going to change out both front calipers, get some fresh brake lines on there, new master cylinder. Let's get to work. Rims and tires are already off from the last video where we did the hubs and seals. I do need to get these plastics off. I'm a little tired today, but you know, got to do what we got to do. I thought you said I was going to remove all these plastics. No, it's okay. I mean, no, listen. I'll take a break. I will take a break, no problem. Okay. Help yourself. You mind if I play some music? All right, cool. All done. Yeah, it looks good. Later. Thanks, bro. I think I want to get the radiator out of the way too. Make life real easy. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see master cylinders right here. If you look at this one, it's got like JB Weld on it. I guess it was leaking at some point. The sight glass, instead of replacing it, we JB Welded it and probably painted it. So you don't even know the condition of the fluid that's in there or even how much is in there. So that's why that's getting replaced. Then we're going to replace this hose down to the proportioning valve. These are just some wires here. Replace the proportioning valve. You can see we got two hard lines that run down. One goes to the right where it meets at this joint, onto a rubber hose, right on down to the caliper. Other side, same thing. Hard line down to the joint. Rubber hose to the caliper. What we're going to replace it all with, got all this from eBay. These are steel braided lines with like a clear coating pretty good quality. Got our calipers, so 2 front calipers, banjo washers. Always make sure you got 2 of them each. Master cylinder with the sight glass. Now this is like a universal one. They're pretty cheap, so it does actually have the brake switch on there, but I'm not gonna have that wired up. I don't have a brake light or a tail light on this bike. This will be our new proportioning valve right here, and then that'll come up, bolt right into there, and then we have our 2 lines that run to the front calipers. Now you want to check these, make sure they're the same size, or if they are different lengths, figure out, make sure you're using the right one. So trace them around. You can see one is about inch and a half longer, and that's because the proportioning valve is on the left side of the frame. I know, I'm pointing and it's the right side, right? But left and right is determined by when you're sitting on the bike looking forward. So left side of the frame, so it's going to need to be a little bit longer to get down to the right side caliper. And then right here, you can see I have a factory bolt right here. The new proportioning valve will bolt up right there, and then the line will run up to the new master cylinder. So I also have these right here. These will bolt to the frame. I'll figure out what position I'm going to put them, and really figure that out once I get down to it. But these are to help hold the line, similar to how that's supposed to hold it. So when it goes down to the caliper, everything's kind of secured and in place. So I'm going to start at the caliper, get the line disconnected. You have to remember that brake fluid is pretty corrosive to paint. You ever want to ruin a nice paint job, spill some brake fluid on it. So I do have these already disconnected from when we did the hubs. Crack the brake line loose. And I do already know that it has been leaking. This front right caliper is the reason why it has no brake pressure. So it does have a little bit of a leak. You can see the residue on the rotor as I wipe it off. So the seal in the caliper probably has a little bit of a tear in it where it's not causing it to seize up, but it is causing it to leak some of the oil out, which is the drop in hydraulic pressure, and then once you let go, it's pulling in air, and basically you have useless front brakes. But that's our culprit. So there isn't a lot of fluid, but starting from the bottom, working our way up, just to try and get most of the fluid out. Okay, let's keep working our way up. It's just a 10 millimeter on here. Oh, it just wants to slip. Put a little PB blast. So normally you want to use a line wrench, just like this. Goes around, grabs the bolt. But mine broke. I forgot all about that it broke. Never replaced it. Sprayed it. I'm just going to add a little bit of heat, but I'm going to be careful. Brake fluid is flammable. Just a little bit. I'm going to use a set of channel locks. Get a real good bite on it. Spin it, because a regular wrench just wants to slip. And before I completely trash it, I would prefer to just clamp it and spin it. right. No, it's slipping. Son of a bitch. So I can't seem to get either one of these to break free. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not going to sit here and waste too much time on it because I don't need it. I'm replacing it. I was trying to salvage it so I could maybe, you know, I don't know, sell it, use it for someone else, whatever. But I'm just going to use this little oscillating tool. Most annoying sound in the world, but geez, these things cut wonderfully. I'm just going to zip them off. That's it. See how fast that is? It's a pretty clean cut, doesn't create a bunch of sparks, and you don't really have to worry about it. Do the same thing with fuel lines now too. That's it. It's going to drip a little bit right down there into the bucket. Pull the clip off. It just pulls through. That's it. Now we'll just keep working our way up. Got a couple homemade parts on it. I like it when we mix metric with standard, you know. Even in the 80s they used metric. There we go. Whole assembly's out. So I did remove the little brake switch. This right here. That was screwed right there into the bottom. I don't need that. Just took it off. Remember, this is universal. Kind of just putting things back together. Just going to go back in a reverse way. Start at the top, work our way down. Just make things just snug so they stay in place while we work. We'll do our final adjustment once we have the seat on and we're sitting in place. Take out the banjo bolt. Don't lose the two washers. Kind of route it the way we want. I mean, I'm going to be replacing this cable, but let's just get this mocked into place here. So make sure you have a washer on either side of the brake line. Alright, so that's basically where we want that. We're going to keep this flat side. It's going to go right there, right in place. Take our little screw here. So I'm not going to go too tight with that because I still have to screw the brake lines on. But I think that's going to look pretty good like that. I should still be able to turn completely without any problems. We're going to take the longer one. Screw it in. Shorter one goes this way. Make sure you're rerouting it very similar to the stock way. I do want to take the new calipers and prep them. You prep them with anti-seize. Will you focus on that? So anti-seize. You can also get this, you can buy that in the tubes, you can buy it in these little packs at the auto store, but you want to get them on your calipers, even if they are brand new. I mean, yeah, we could put these on, but just through dust and heat cycles and stuff like that, they have a good chance of corroding quicker, and then they won't work. They go to crap. So even though they're brand new, we're still going to prep them. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. We'll get these prepped, get them on the bike. So when you pull these out of the box, usually they're pretty complete, kind of the same. Again, these are an eBay item. Nothing high end here going on. But they put a little tube in here, a little piece of rubber, just to keep the shoes from rattling and this whole assembly kind of falling apart. Now, if you wonder, well, how do I get this off? There's no screws, there's no nothing. What do I do? Well, all you gotta do is, if you watch this plate, I'm gonna squeeze it. You can see how the whole thing squeezes. So when you squeeze that, you're able to get this outside one off. Then the inside one will just kind of fall out. And then you have your, basically your caliper spring in here, your pad spring. And now we are going to get anti-seize on it, make a mess of ourselves. Pretty simple. You're going to do this to the other front caliper and the rear caliper too. I put a little bit on the end of the caliper piston there so the pad doesn't stick to that. We could put a little bit on the little pad spring, just where it makes contact. Where things make contact, that's where I like to have it. This little retainer, spring, whatever you want to call it, whatever, goes in place like that. The pads are going to push on this, and everything's going to kind of lock itself together. Take the pad that goes towards the piston, hit wherever there's going to be metal to metal contact. I think that's about it, but we'll hit mostly the sides. It looks like it's going to touch. And we'll do a little bit on the bottom where it's going to ride that spring. Try not to get it on the pad. Try not to get it all over your face. And then you're just going to put, you know, you're going to size up the... Oh, I'm getting it all over the place. My goodness, hold on. I am the worst with this anti-seize. All you're going to do is line up the way it's shaped. You'll have to press down. Just make sure. Hold it, just get it flat. I'm trying to show you, but you got to get it flat. Line up the shape of it. Square peg, square hole. You can do this. The only hard part of this is really just trying to get everything to just kind of stay in place. It's really not that difficult. I'm just trying to show you. Get that anti-seize off of there. Now we have the outside pad. Hit the insides. Remember, whatever's making metal to metal contact. You can put a little bit on this little shaft here. And then on the inside of that caliper. And then we'll put it on the bottom. Oh, right there. Wrong side. Wrong side, wrong side. Fuck. Anti-seize. Alright. You're going to really just put it in place. It's a little bit easier if you just get one side on. See, now it's all falling apart. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm trying to show them. I like to just put one side on. And then just... how about we put it on the right way? That way down. So really I only got to pay attention to trying getting one side on. Oh, the anti-seize on my fingers. Squeeze it. That's it. That's it. Me showing you complicated it. It really did. If you're a little bit decent at puzzles, just take a look at it and you can see how it goes together. All right, they already come assembled. All you're doing is disassembling and just getting some anti-seize on it so everything slides good. And then when you put it on the bike, make sure you have 2 washers. Okay, see the washer there, another washer there, and your brake goes right in between that. Has to be 2 washers or it will leak. I'm gonna do the other one, then I'm gonna clean up the hardware. Just hit them with the metal brush on the grinder, just clean them up a little bit. I wanted to show you something real quick. While I was prepping the other one, and I put on this outer pad. I have it disassembled, but just to show you. When I put this pad on, it didn't want to, see how it slides nice and easy? You know, it falls down. It was stuck. Oh man, this one's all stuck. This is why you gotta check them. And I just knew that if this wasn't free riding, it's going to stick when it's on the bike. So instead of modifying or doing anything to the caliper, I decided to take a file, a little round file, do a little bit of work on the inside of the brake pad. Really didn't hit it for long. And then I was able to get the result I just showed you of where now it slides nice and easy. So don't just accept just because it's new that's how it should be. Sometimes you got to mess with them a little bit. Even the expensive side of things sometimes. Alright, I'll get this wrapped up, we'll put it on the bike. So what if you don't remember how it goes, which way they go, which one's which? Well, you can either look at the old calipers that you took off, or just look at the orientation of the caliper itself. So they look the same when I'm holding them the same, but what's different? The bleeder. See, one's down, one's up. So you're going to want to put the caliper on where the bleeder is going to be on top. So we can mount them upside down and backwards. Air bleeder's here. Your brake line is going to be here. The brake line right now is above the bleeder. That kind of defeats the purpose of bleeding the brakes. So not going to work that way. Stop playing games with me. But it's pretty simple. Spread the pads. Slide it on, and then we have our bleeder on the top. Air's got to bleed out the top. Don't lose the little washers. They're important. Keep one on the caliper. Keep one on the banjo. I believe the line's going to want to twist this way. We're just kind of getting everything mocked up, you know, because I still have to figure out how I'm going to mount the lines. Now we can put it on. You know we got the right caliper, literally the right, oh, this damn banner shoe. Put a little anti-seize on your nut, on your bolts. Remember, heat cycles causes these to stick. You don't want to break it. Oh my gosh, it's mounting calipers and I'm getting my butt kicked here. Alright, that's one side, do the other side. I still have everything loose because I want to make sure that nothing was going to bind. Running down here to the junction, I am in a mounting hole for the original proportioning valve. And then we run behind the steering shaft around the radiator hose. So we still have some movement to our mount. And then the other one runs to this mount. This is where I took some time because now we run down to the caliper. Same thing goes on the other side. Runs down and through. Again, it's still loose. We'll do a zip tie right there. And really we're good. So at full suspension, when the suspension compresses, it's actually going to give a little bit of more play, but you just want to make sure that nothing is going to go into the shock, which is why it's inside this guard. Also, when we turn, you want to make sure that you're not having any binding, pulling, where it's too tight, either direction. So make sure you're just paying attention to that before you just start clamping everything down, tightening it all up. And these are extremes. So if I had the suspension at full flight, full turn, I mean, this landing is not going to be great, but I know that my brake lines are not binding and they're going to be okay when I land. I might not be. So let's secure everything back up. Well, we're going to stop right here for now. We will bleed the brakes, get all this air out of the system in an upcoming video. I think we covered a lot today. Hope you learned something. I know I learned a little bit. I definitely struggled a little bit when trying to show you things. Calipers are rather pretty simple to do, and I kind of had some moments where it wasn't so simple. But I always appreciate you watching. I appreciate if you subscribed. If you haven't subscribed and you have a Gmail, click it. It's right there. Click the subscribe. See it? Click it. Push it. Hey, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.